ice in my veins. I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping.
My name's Smithy Amato. I'm an under 120 powerlifter competing at Night at Champs in Bob's your uncle.
Made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say.
Outside the box thinking.
Big rainbow.
I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
What's your name and who are you?
I am Smithy Amato. I am a under 120 powerlifter competing in Night at Champs. And I'm just very excited to be there on the stage with everyone else.
What do you do for work, family? Talk to me.
So I'm a full-time carpentry apprentice. In my third year, I'm working on the Coburn to Thornley train link, doing that train line up, and I'm having fun with it. And I also, obviously, most people know I've 2 kids now. Now I have 2 kids. I've got a 1.5-year-old son and a 2-month-old daughter, Daniela and Salamana. And it's been tough having obviously 2 kids and trying to train. Training times have been tough. When I just had my one son, it was tough but doable. And I was training after work because obviously we had early starts for work at 6, so training before 6 I was just not going to do at all. So obviously my other option was to train after work. And it was fun training after work because I was training at a time where everyone would train at the same time. But now that I've had my daughter, my second child, waiting for her, because the routine is that I wait for her or him, my son or my daughter, to go to sleep. And then once they're both asleep and my wife is fine to take care of them both while I go train, I'll head out. But that'll be around like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And sessions already take like 2.5 hours. So I've managed to train under I've tried to maximize my time being there, but obviously just getting home late and stuff like that, waking up in the morning again and doing it all over again, it's tough, but I think I was just born with this drive to just, if it all doesn't go to plan, just make it work, which is a saying I have at work. I'll have a task given to me. It looks impossible to do. Looks like I'm gonna need to pull the earth apart to do this job, and all my tradesmen will tell me is just make it work, Smithy, just make it work. So I've kind of applied that to my personal life with managing training and managing being a father at the same time, which is obviously just as more important, obviously, for me than training. But I've just always been so competitive that I can't let my personal life so much overthrow my training, because powerlifting at the moment, it's almost like the only thing going for me. As much as being a father, which is obviously I'm aiming just to be a better father every day and just learning how to become a better father to my kids, but then also how can I be an extremely competitive powerlifter or athlete in general. So yeah, a lot of talking.
You've got the saying, you could be someone.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about that? Can you say it and just talk me through how did that come to be?
So I was obviously, when TikTok came about back in 2020, during that lockdown, COVID lockdown, I just came across this TikTok, and it was like regular teenager on the leg press, and I think he had probably 100, 200 kilos on the leg press, just doing it for reps. And this old guy comes over, and he comes over and he's saying that, praising him like, oh, like you're so strong, man, like you could be someone. If you just keep training this, if you keep having this work ethic, you could be someone. And for some reason, that just, as he said that, I just kind of turned off my phone and just resonated off that. And what I got from it was that utilising everything that I can be given in terms of program, like sticking to the program, sticking to my nutrition. Obviously sleep is hard, but obviously just utilising as much sleep as I can get, and trying to just make the most of what I can have. I can be someone as in I can be at a level where people can almost look up to me. And as a father, I've kind of almost wanted to reciprocate that, as being a father, as my children look up to me and see what I've done and seeing what it takes for me to do so much work and to do so much training, that no matter what obstacles are given to me, are passed to me, I can push through all of that and still become the person that I've wanted to be, which is obviously someone that I don't think I could reach to be, but it's just good to almost have that chase, to just becoming that person I've wanted to be.
Talk to me about your origin story.
Oh.
What got you into powerlifting?
All right, so this is almost like a Batman origin story. I've told it to a couple of people. So it dates back to 2022, when I was actually doing rehab for a shoulder injury that I had playing rugby, and I walk into the gym, and how the gym's set up is you walk in and the squat racks are like on one side of the gym, and I walk in and everyone's looking towards the squat rack, and I was like, oh, what's going on there? So I walk over, and this guy, like back then my PB squat was like 120, and I just saw the bar, and he had 280 on the bar, but back then I was like, what the hell? I didn't even know you could load that many plates on the bar, let alone for how heavy it is. And so I just watched him, and he walked out and he squatted it, racked it back in, and I was just astounded by how strong he was. So I walked up to him and I said, oh, like, good job, man, like that was insane. And he's like, yeah, thanks, man. A couple days later, he's deadlifting next to me, I'm squatting, and then there's like a bunch of girls on the other side of me, and then there was just people everywhere. It's pretty busy. And I was there with a friend, and we were squatting, obviously, and I did 120, and I was like, oh man, I reckon we can go for a PB. And then he said, oh, what do you reckon? I said, I reckon try for the 140, 3 plate, let's try and get it. So he's like, oh, sweet. So we loaded it up, and I got under the bar, unracked it, walked back, and I looked up, and obviously most commercial gyms, they have that mirror in front of the squat rack. I looked, and I could just see in the reflection that everyone was just looking at me. And I was like, if I don't do this is going to be so embarrassing if I can't do it. So I go down and I go back up. I'm fighting, and I couldn't get it. So I bail. the bar's on the ground, and that was just embarrassing. Failing in front of that many people, it was just too embarrassing to even face my friend. I was just wanted to walk out the gym. And that guy, who obviously squatted that 280, he came around and he was like, do you want him and his friend to pick up the bar and rack it up? And I was like, no, it's fine, we're done with squats anyways. Him and his mate comes over and picks it up, puts it back in the rack. So I was like, okay, it's easier to unrack all the weights from that height instead of the ground. And then he walks around and he gets under the bar. Just as I've failed it in front of everyone, he gets under the bar, unracks it, walks back and just does an AMRAP of that. No knee sleeves, no belt, just up, down, up, down, up, down. And I was just me and my friend were just looking at him like, oh my gosh, how can you even do that? He racked it, and the icing on the cake, he racked it, got back under, and he was like, how heavy is this? And I was like, it's 140. And he said, man, that's light as hell. And he walked away, and I was like, I looked at him walk away, and I promised to myself that one day, I don't know how long it's going to take, but one day I'm going to be stronger than you, and I'm going to make sure that happens no matter the cost. And probably come back last year before Nationals, I had a top double and I wasn't sure what to do, and I decided I think 280 will be the number. Not at Raw, no one really knew what 280 meant for me. But when I loaded it up, I knew what it meant to me. Just to squat this weight, what this guy did a couple years ago, I'm going to do it, but not only for one, I'm going to double it. I got under it, and as soon as I did that first rep, I was so happy, and then I went down for the second rep, and as soon as I racked it in, I said, thanks for everyone for spotting, and I just went back and I almost had an emotional moment, just like, I've done it. I can't believe I've done it. And from that day on, I've just been like, if I can do this, imagine, obviously there's so many other people stronger than me, imagine if I had the same motivation, same discipline to beat everyone else. So, in a nutshell, yeah, that's how I got myself into powerlifting.
Absolutely. So, you're talking about your motivation now. You've obviously done the 280.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what your goals are now in terms of where you see yourself going.
Well, after my Nationals performance, and I guess how much of an improvement I can make myself, obviously the big overarching goal is just to become national champion. Because I've done nationals before, not in powerlifting, but I used to do athletics, and I went to nationals for throwing, both discus and shot put, and I placed third in shot put. I didn't medal for discus, but going on the podium for that third place, I just knew if I could, since I'm at this level right now, surely I could back then, could I make it to the Olympics? Obviously, I haven't been doing that, and I'm doing powerlifting, but I'm still having that same mindset of I can become a national champion no matter what sport. I just want to become that national champion and ultimately just represent Australia in something, which is obviously a big goal in mine.
Who's your greatest role model and why?
I would say biggest role model, probably my dad, because when I started doing this, he thought it was a sport for steroid junkies, and no, you look like an idiot doing this sport. And he was big on me doing rugby, and hopefully playing for Wallabies at some point. And I wanted to ride that train with him, but as I was just constantly getting injured and stuff, he'd always tell me, oh, come on. And he kind of instilled in me that drive just to be better. Like, I went to nationals for shot put and discus. I was the best in the state, and he was always telling me, like, you can always do this, you can always do that. And when he started to warm up to me about me doing powerlifting, and he realised, like, the potential I have doing this sport, I guess he was like the main driver for me to just to keep going, because growing up I wouldn't say he was toxic, but it was almost like I didn't meet his expectations with sport or with like schooling, and just seeing him happy with doing what I did, especially at nationals past. It was just the feeling that I got that I did my dad proud. Like I've got to where I am and my dad's proud of me. Like, I couldn't really ask for anything else. And then just having, not so much that, oh, my children will never meet my expectations, but I've always wanted to implement some sort of a similar approach to my children, in terms of, you're doing great, but you can always be better. Like, you've gotten to this point, you might be the best thing in the state, but are you the best in the nation? And if you're the best in the nation, are you the best in the world? And if you're not the best in the world, then what are you doing? Type thing.
Do you see yourself being the best in the world?
I wouldn't say I could see myself, but I can definitely tell you, if I can play my cards right, I don't think I'd see myself. I could just be there.
What's your most memorable powerlifting memory?
I think it's got to be that you can't go past that 295 deadlift at nationals. Luckily I knew what was on the table if I did get it, and what was at stake if I didn't get it. And just knowing that if I pulled this, I'm not sure what you said, but you said something on the lines of, like, this is it. I don't care if you can get it, but if you don't, like, this is it, Smithy. And when you told me that, I immediately just took that in and almost took it personally, knowing that all the hype building up to nationals, and I've come to this point, I've flown over there. There was no way I was just not going to get this deadlift. And I think the feeling I got after seeing those two white lights, and then looking up and seeing you celebrate, and then obviously I was just on the same level as you, just hyped and just excited. I think that temporary feeling that I have podiumed on the national stage again was probably the most unreal feeling that I ever had in my life. And obviously it didn't work out. I didn't end up coming second, but just knowing that I could do that, and knowing that if I was told what's at stake, and in a nutshell, that 295 deadlift.
Do you feel like at nationals you left it all out there?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think, like, I knew I left it all out there, because I deadlifted and I jumped, and as I landed I cramped my calf, and I don't think I don't think if I put more kilos on my squat or more kilos on my bench. I don't think if I put those kilos on and then I went to do that 295 deadlift, on the way up I just cramped. I don't think that day could have gone any better to what I expected.
So now you're how did you feel to get the invite for Night of Champions?
Pretty surreal, because I joined you in, I think it was July 22 I joined, and the lead up to nationals, all I heard was nationals, and I was like, oh, I wish I could do that. And then I heard, and then you announced the first Night of Champions, and I was like, oh, after all the battles were announced, all I wanted to be was just to be a part of it. And when I got the invite, and I was ecstatic. Like, I think it was almost like a birthday present. I was driving here, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get invited or not, but on the drive to here, I just seen a notification on my phone like, oh, Strength Club tagged you in a post. And I was like, surely, no, can't be. So I waited till I got here, and then I opened the notification. When I saw the reel, I was like, oh my gosh, this is epic. And then when I saw who I was up against, I was like, damn it, he's bulking up to 120s, damn it.
What's one piece of advice you wish you could give yourself when you started?
I think I'd give myself a couple points. I don't think it would work with everyone, but with me, back then, if I knew, undershooting creates momentum in ways that works with me. But with general advice, I would say what I said earlier in the interview, just make it work. Make it work and you'll reap your rewards eventually.
Talk to me about some of the challenges you've had being a dad, trying to balance it all. How hard is that on you and your family?
Well, when we found out about our firstborn, my thinking was, how am I going to make this work? I don't want to give up powerlifting, but obviously being a father is more important than actually training and becoming a powerlifter. So it was tough. It was tough for me, but I think what made it work was my wife. Like, I don't think, if I wasn't with her, and I was with someone else, I don't think I'd be able to do powerlifting. It's mainly because of her. She almost lets me do it because she's told me that she's happy with what I'm doing and how I guess I'm not wasting my time beating around the bush with doing this sport. And it was good with our firstborn, and it was tough because obviously sleeping with a newborn is almost non-existent. And when we found out about our second child, it was obviously all the thoughts came up with the extra responsibility is it's gonna rock the ship a bit, but it was just in terms of finding a routine that worked. So we found our routine when it came with our firstborn. As long as he goes to sleep, as soon as he goes to sleep, like, I'm free to go to the gym. And back then training was late already. I was already training late, but then as his sleeping routine started to get a lot better, I started training earlier, and me and her were able to get a lot of sleep. But then with his second born now, it was extremely tough. Probably the first month, just because I knew that she can't. I don't want to leave her with 2 kids at home, 1 newborn and 1 boy that runs around like crazy. I don't want to be selfish of that. So balancing quality time with them and then training with the available time that I had, it was almost very slim with the time I had, obviously, because with work involved, which was the main thing for me and her, because if I couldn't work, obviously, then everything goes out the window. But since I've made it work with balancing work and quality time with the kids, and then time with her as well. We're just able to find that balance between, but it's definitely not easy. And I'd be lying if I said it was easy. But it's just in terms of if you and your significant other can be on board with making it work, and if you truly did want to make it work, then you'll find a way, which is what we did.
What makes you a champion?
Oh, jeez, I was waiting for this question. I've been thinking about this. This is one question I kept thinking about, and I would say what makes me a champion is probably not in terms of winning the competition, but it's knowing that I've played all my cards. I've got everything down packed. I've done everything that I can for this competition, and if I've done it all right, and it all shows on the platform, I think that result itself is what makes me a champion. Not in terms of not winning, not getting on the podium, just knowing that I've done everything I can to make this competition work, and I've reaped the rewards. That's what I reckon makes a champion.
How excited are you for night?
When me and Taj were talking about it, we were probably 3, almost 4 months out, and it almost felt like it was next week. Just me and him just going back and forth, talking smack here and there. Especially with squats when he kept chipping me, and I was just like, I can't let you do that, man. I can't let you just chip me like that. And but super excited, knowing that he's bulking up to 120s as well. He's already strong, but just him bulking up to what he is now, I think he's like 115, I think, is just another challenge itself, which is obviously I'm going to have to make work.
How do you think your strategy needs to be?
On comp day, you mean? Everything. Just make it work. I don't think you could put it any other way. Just if I've done everything right, I haven't skipped a session, I've done all my accessories. If I beat him, like, that would be, obviously that's the goal, to beat Taj. But
I think you're going to be, squats.
yeah,
It's going to be
like I was thinking, if I want my best chance to beat Taj, in the reel of the invitation, it said that me and him have big squats. I have bench, he has deadlift. My plan is to just not be even with him with squats, and obviously bench, I'm far ahead, but with deadlifts, obviously that's where the game changes a bit. So just building that subtotal, especially with squats, I reckon if I can push myself far enough ahead of him before it comes to first round of deadlifts, I think we might have it in the bag.
What's your mindset at the moment? You had one of easily the most dense battle at nationals, right? Which was crazy. Like, I don't think anyone's ever seen a 120 battle like that ever, even in the opens. What's your mindset now going into this one compared to juniors? Is it the same? Have you changed things about your mindset with and then next year you're in open.
Yeah.
It's a whole other kettle of fish. Talk about that.
Mindset wise, I guess it's easier because I'm more worried about one person in terms of when I go to nationals. Obviously you have a whole range of fishes to eat, and with him, with Taj, it's just another fish in the ocean. It's just in terms, can I eat him or is he going to eat me? But with open nationals, with what you said, like that is it's a different breeding ground. It's not juniors anymore. There's no more under 23-year-olds. It's 23 and upwards. And knowing what happened at last year's nationals, the bar is set extremely high, which is what everyone wants. And the standard of that as well has incredibly just risen up to what the last nationals was. And I guess I'm just excited for the work ahead, and obviously for what competition is there to come. But to help me mentally prepare for each competition, I just got to think more selfishly in terms of as soon as I'm on that platform, I'm going to do everything I can to overrule everyone else. Just whatever it is, just chuck it on the bar. I don't care. I'll squat it. I'll bench it. And I can deadlift it.
Do you think doing Night of Champions is going to make you a better athlete?
Fuck. Will Night of Champs make me a better athlete? I think every competition does. Like, no matter what level it is, nationals, local level, the difference is how intense is your preparation for it. So obviously, yes, Night of Champions will make me a better athlete. But then also Power Mania would be as well. So yeah, I wouldn't say any level of competition would. I would say any level of competition can make you a better athlete.
Sick.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Oh my God.
No tears. Good job.